The FBI has opened its vaults. After more than a century of keeping secrets, many classified documents are now available for the public to explore. Among them are some of the craziest secrets the FBI has ever kept hidden. Here are 50 of the wildest revelations, including the truth about one of America's most mysterious figures. Number 1. Is Hitler really dead? When World War II ended, the world cheered the news of Adolf Hitler's death. He was said to have died in a bunker in Berlin as Allied forces closed in. But soon, rumors began to swirl. Did he actually escape, like some of his Nazi comrades? Could he have fled to South America, or even gone undercover as a regular guy living in the suburbs? A bizarre sitcom even played with this idea. The rumors were strong enough that the FBI looked into it. The truth, according to the declassified files, nope, he really was dead. And this wasn't the only World War II investigation the FBI handled. Number 2. The suspicious wife. J. Robert Oppenheimer, the genius physicist behind the creation of the atomic bomb, was mostly trusted by the US government, even though he had some past connections to left-wing politics, but the FBI had concerns about his wife. She was a trained biologist working at Los Alamos, helping with radiation research. However, her past raised red flags. Before marrying Oppenheimer, she had been involved with communist activist Joseph Tallet Jr. and even joined the Communist Party. This led the FBI to investigate her, which caused Oppenheimer's security clearance to be downgraded. And this was just one of many far-reaching investigations the FBI conducted during that time. Number 3. Detention camps. Before President Roosevelt's infamous executive order that forced Japanese Americans into internment camps, the US government was already detaining people. During World War II, anyone seen as a security threat could be arrested and held during the state of emergency. This included 3 main groups: Japanese Americans, German Americans, and Italian Americans. These people were detained with almost no chance to defend themselves, and the FBI kept detailed records of everyone involved, but not all FBI investigations ended on a negative note. Number 4. The Money Man. Not many people can say they played a major role in both world wars, but Bernard Baruch was no ordinary guy. He was a stock market genius who chaired the War Industries Board during World War I under President Woodrow Wilson, and later advised President Roosevelt on industry and production during World War II. Anytime someone gets that close to the president, the FBI steps in to take a closer look. Did they find anything shady on Baruch? Considering he was later appointed to the United Nations Atomic Energy Commission by President Truman, it seems like the answer was no. Number 5. Operation Paperclip. After World War II, the US wanted to recruit some former Nazi scientists to help with their nuclear and space programs, but only the ones who weren't too bad. The FBI's job? To dig into the backgrounds of these scientists to make sure they weren't involved in the worst wartime crimes. The goal was to see if they were valuable enough to bring to America. Today, you can find original FBI reports on famous figures like Arthur Rudolph and Werner von Braun online. But the FBI wasn't always looking into the past. Sometimes they were trying to stop wars before they started. Number 6. Flying solo. Even though the US and the Soviet Union never officially went to war, there was a lot of fear that the Soviets were trying to spy on or sabotage America. This led the FBI to create Operation Solo, a secret mission that lasted 20 years. The plan: plant undercover agents inside the Communist Party of the US to see if they were sharing secrets with countries like the Soviet Union or China. 2 key agents in this mission were brothers Morris and Jack Childs, Russian Jewish immigrants whose backgrounds made them perfect for infiltrating Soviet-linked groups. But not all FBI operations were quite so clean-cut. Number 7. Black bag operations. What do you do if you need to search someone's home but can't get a warrant because the investigation is top secret? The FBI had a solution in the 1940s and beyond: black bag operations. Instead of getting permission, they would sneak into homes or businesses at night, search for evidence, and leave without the person ever knowing. Most of these cases didn't lead to charges, so the public didn't know about them until much later when the files were finally declassified. This practice continued until 1966, when it was ordered to stop and was officially declared unconstitutional in 1972. But sometimes the FBI's targets weren't so easy to spot. Number 8. The Lady of Peace. Jane Addams was a trailblazing feminist and reformer, fighting for women's rights and better housing during the Progressive Era. She even became the first American woman to win the Nobel Peace Prize for her efforts in the anti-war movement. So why did the FBI have a file on her? It turns out they once investigated her for treason. When World War I started, Addams stuck to her anti-war stance and founded a women's peace party. Later, in the 1920s, she opposed the crackdown on communist activists, which caught the FBI's attention. Despite the surveillance, they found nothing criminal, but one anti-war movement brought even more FBI investigations. Number 9. Yippee. The Vietnam War sparked massive protests, and many anti-war leaders found themselves under government scrutiny. One of the most famous was Abbie Hoffman, a key figure in the protest movement. His antics led to the famous trial of the Chicago 8. Hoffman's group, the Youth International Party, known as the Yippies, was under FBI investigation for 5 years. The FBI ended up with a huge 50-part series on him. Hoffman's activism and legal battles were so famous that he was later portrayed by Sacha Baron Cohen in the film Asterisk, The Trial of the Chicago 7 Asterisk. And one tragic day in the Vietnam protests led to years of FBI investigations. Number 10. Blood on American soil. What began as a typical peace rally in 1970 at Kent State University in Ohio took a deadly turn. Students were protesting the presence of the National Guard on campus after the US expanded the Vietnam War into Cambodia, but things escalated when the National Guard opened fire on the unarmed crowd, killing 4 students and injuring 9 others. 2 of the students killed weren't even part of the protest. Outrage spread across the country, with massive protests over the tragic event. Despite the public outcry, none of the guardsmen faced criminal charges. The FBI, however, spent years investigating the incident, and those files are now available in a 22-part series. Not all FBI cases are this serious though. Number 11. There's No Place Like Home. One of the most famous pieces of movie history is Dorothy's ruby slippers from Asterisk, The Wizard of Oz Asterisk. So, when they were stolen from the Judy Garland Museum in 2005, it made headlines. At first, local police handled the case, but soon the FBI took over because the theft involved an interstate smuggling operation. It took the FBI more than 10 years and multiple agents in a sting operation to finally recover the stolen slippers. The iconic shoes were finally returned to their rightful place. But not all FBI cases are quite so dramatic. Number 12. Sing That Song. Louie Louie, oh no, me gotta go. You're probably humming it now, right? But what's that song really about? No one could figure it out, not even the FBI. When Asterisk, the Kingsmen Asterisk, released the song in 1963, it became a huge hit. But people started to wonder, were the lyrics hiding something dirty, maybe a secret political message? The FBI spent an entire year investigating, trying to crack the code. In the end, they found nothing, and the words are just as hard to understand today as they were back then. This wasn't the FBI's only run-in with the music world, though. Number 13. Not so fabulous. Everyone loved the Beatles, except the US government, apparently. President Nixon had a particular problem with John Lennon. Nixon believed Lennon, with his massive fan base, was planning to use his influence to sway the 1972 election. The FBI investigated Lennon, and the Immigration and Naturalization Service even tried to deport him. Lennon wasn't banned from the US, but he did cancel plans for an American tour, giving Nixon a small victory. This story was later uncovered by journalist John Weiner. But you'd be surprised just how many celebrities have FBI files. Number 14. Before the White House. It's no surprise that Ronald Reagan had an FBI file. He was a US president after all. But the FBI had their eye on him long before he took office. Back in 1947, when Reagan was president of the Screen Actors Guild, he had a file. Why? Despite being a strong conservative and anti-communist, Reagan, along with his then-wife Jane Wyman, worked with federal agents to report actors they suspected of being communists. So, before he became president, Reagan was actually an informant for the FBI, and he wasn't the only beloved figure with FBI connections. Number 15. The Mouse's Secret. Walt Disney, the creator of Mickey Mouse and the Disney Empire, was known for being very traditional. He wanted to keep everything about his brand and parks wholesome and patriotic. This led to deep ties with the government. During World War II, Disney worked on propaganda films for the US government, and even after the war, he continued to cooperate. Disney provided information about people in Hollywood who were seen as un-American. He was so involved that he became a special agent in charge contact with the FBI until his death in 1966. But many celebrities have FBI files for less official reasons. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and be sure to subscribe for more fascinating stories. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and hit the asterisk bell icon asterisk to stay updated on our latest uploads. See you in the next one.